Okay. All praise, glory, and honor is most certainly due to the Most High, God of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and peace to you. In the name of Jesus, I count it truly a blessing each and every single time that I can come before you to preach the word, and never do kind of that's a light thing to do so. All right, brothers and sisters, I want to get right into today's topic, and this is based upon a question that I received or a request for some advice, and I'm doing this in this form as far as in the video. I'm not gonna say any names, but it seems like to me that there are a lot of factors that lead us into as men not to function as men, and also for women to operate outside of what they were supposed to do, and even children, quite frankly, because we have adopted the ways of the Western world. And so what I'm going to read to you is an example of that in part. And then on the flip side, we try to interject the Most High into our situation. Like, so we misapply the scriptures. We kind of put him into things that we caused, and at the same time use a Western lens to look at problems, look at situations. So now it's going to be a straight up, no nonsense look at the thing, which I try to do. I don't try to sugarcoat anything. So it's going to be probably some things there'll probably be some aspects of this that you don't necessarily agree with. So then if I cared, it would be an issue, but I don't. So I'm gonna just start reading. Okay, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm gonna get to the part that leads up to the advice that's requested. It says, I was in a relationship with my wife 5 years before we got married and into the truth. I, as most men, was wicked. He said, probably a lot more than most, and had this is I'm reading an email, by the way, just so you know. So this individual said, I was in a relationship with my wife 5 years before we got married and into the truth. I, as most men, was wicked as hell, probably a lot more than most, and had an affair with another woman and had a daughter. Again, this is an email that I'm reading. I just received this. Peace to you, brother. It's good to see you there, brother. He says, now listen, so it's a lot of little parts of this. He said, I lied to my wife, who was my woman at the time, and tried to hide the child from her until I could find the right time to let her know. Ain't gonna be no right time. Anyway, she found out and I lied. Married her and then told her a few months later. Deceitful. That part, I'm gonna just be honest right there. I don't understand it. Maybe I'll come back to it. I'm just keep reading. I was just finding out about Deuteronomy 28 and the laws at this time and really wanted to serve the Most High. But this thorn was in my side because my wife now wants nothing to do with the child and says she will leave me if I deal with her. I went along with it for 8 years out of guilt, but have been a stand-up man since I've been serving God. At this point, I need to see my daughter and start teaching her about the truth and being a father to her as I am to my other children. I'm almost at the point to tell her to do what she has to do because I can't punish the child. I'm just afraid of what the Most High will do to me if I leave or let her leave over the child who is illegitimate through fornication. Any advice is appreciated. If not, I understand. Well, okay, let's go through it. For one, I'm just saying, before I even get to what the scripture's saying, men need to stop lying to women. They need to stop lying to them. So now, and this is another thing. When you look at scriptures, it's patriarchal, okay? Marriages were polygamous. You had men that had marriages with and children in those marriages. But even with that, you had men, you look at examples of men who even stepped out of those marriages and dealt with other women in an illegitimate fashion. Okay. So just so we know I'm gonna just lay out what the scriptures are as far as that, and the paradigm in the Western world. Scripturally, Hebraic culture, it was patriarchal, it was polygynous, you had one household, one man. You had many women, but even with that, you still had men that were committing adultery. You still had men that had illegitimate children, and we're gonna read a little bit about that. The Western world is not patriarchal right now. It is a pseudo-monogamous situation going on in the world, and what happens is you still got all this okay, I give an example. Like when you look at our people, we have a 77% out of wedlock birth rate. 77%, almost 80%. Okay, so you talk about illegitimate. The vast majority of the children we have right now are illegitimate. Okay, so that's the Western world. Again, so-called monogamy, even though monogamy is not being practiced. Let me say this: men can practice monogamy. For the most part, men are not monogamous. That's just not the truth. Okay, and so what you see here, they can practice it, but they're not naturally monogamous. And so what you see here is a man that's doing in the world what a lot of men do, which is wrong. Don't get me wrong, I'm not justifying anything. Is deal with all these women. Well, this is one of the consequences of that, to where you're dealing with all these women in a wrong way, and now you have a child. So you said something. You said, first of all, y'all was dealing with each other for 5 years before you got married and into the truth, and it says you was wicked, like most men, wicked as hell. Well, that's just mankind, man and women, just wicked. Like I said, you got 77% out of wedlock birth rate. You got what you talking about on behalf of men. You got our abortion rates going through the roof. You got wickedness on both sides. Not saying I'm gonna get to her in a second, but it says, now this is something you said. He said, and let's see. I lied to my wife, who was my woman at the time, and tried to hide the child from her until I could find the right time to let her know. Again, you made an error in what you did, but then you based. See, this way you was bogus in the sense. I think you know that, and you basically laid the foundation of your marriage on a lie, and you withheld information. That was bogus. But I don't understand how he said she found out and I lied. So if she found out, but then you lied about it, so no, saying no, you denied the baby, so no, that's not my baby, and married her and told her a few months later. So she found out. She probably knew. She knew the truth. You lied to her. She probably wanted. I don't know. I'm saying this is speculation. Let me qualify that. She probably wanted to believe that. She probably wanted to believe that. And it's probably one of the first time, if you was doing all this, women know what you're doing. If you out there in the streets, women ain't stupid. Women know what you're doing. More than likely, you with her for 5 years. She know all kind of stuff that you was doing. Probably stuff you don't even know she know. But nevertheless, you said she found out and I lied and married her and then told her a few months later, deceitful. So you basically laid the foundation of your marriage on a huge lie. Then it says, I was just finding out about Deuteronomy 28 in the laws at this time and really wanted to serve the Most High, but this thorn was in my side because my wife now wants nothing to do with the child and says she will leave me if I deal with her. Okay, so now this is the part. Now now what you did and you didn't tell her the truth, you weren't truthful on things. Again, this has nothing to do with the Bible's as far as what we read about a patriarchal society. So in a matriarchal society or gynocracy, where we living in right now, a woman can say something about a man's relationship with another woman. Okay. So now she's saying and can tell you that she don't want you to have nothing to do with your child. No, now understand, you was out there doing wrong, and dealing with these women in this manner, but at the same time, that's still your child. So now this is what we at right now. You got women who will have illegitimate children, and before they get in that, they might have an opportunity to marry a man and will tell you that my children gonna come first, and will put their children first that are illegitimate. Not saying that that's what she did. So it's not, so this is the kind of stuff you seeing amongst our people. We're in a mess. So now you saying she don't want you to deal with your shit. That's not right. Why is not right? Because that's your child. And you talking about, you said something. You said ever since I've been a stand-up man since I've been serving God. How you serving God and not taking care of your kids? That's not. I was talking to. He had a child. I said, how old is the child now? 18 or 17 or 18. Ain't seen him. Ain't tried to talk to him. Ain't tried to do nothing. I said, hold on, man. And I was young, and I said, man, you can't do that, man. You got to go find your child and take care of him. Oh no, I can't do that. What you talking about? I'm gonna read something here in 1 Timothy. This is 1 Timothy, because you ain't been a man. I know that you might not like to hear that, but oh well, you ain't been a man. 1 Timothy, the 5th chapter, and verse 8, it said, but if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, that even though that child is illegitimate, that's still your seed. It says, but if any provide not for his own, especially for those of his own house, have denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. One part about being a man, brother, let me say that, is taking accountability and responsibility even when you've done wrong. See, men more, and I'm going to say this, because people want to hear, a lot of times children, they don't want to be accountable. They don't want to be responsible. A lot of times you see that in women, they don't want to be accountable. Now you got men don't want to be accountable. You have to be accountable for what you did. That's a hard thing. That's a hard saying, or situation you in rather. And if she leaves you, that shows you're not operating in manhood, because you worried about her leaving you. I know this sound, but I don't want to leave. So you talking about I've been a straight up man. You probably ain't been you may not have been in the streets, but you ain't been no man because you ain't been taking care of your kid. You've been a man to the child. It don't seem like it. You said nothing to do with the child and said she would, because even if you pay a child support, it's more than child support. You definitely supposed to pay child support. And it's also what you talking about teaching. You're supposed to be there for the child as well. And being supportive to the child. The child didn't, that's one thing about it. The child didn't do anything. So it says, you say, again, I've been a man, been a stand-up man, M-A-N in capital letters, since I've been serving God. Again, but if any provide not for his own, especially for those of his own house, he have denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. An infidel is a non-believer. You worse than that. So if you're not, because how I'm reading this here, it seems like you're not. My wife wants me to do nothing with the child, and I went along with it for 8 years out of guilt. So, yeah, you was wrong, but at the same time, you got to get past the guilt and got to be responsible for what you did, what you created. See, sometimes you coming into the word don't mean that you ain't made a mess of your life prior to that. And that you're going to have consequences, repercussions for the things that you've done in the world prior to that. That's just the reality of it. You're going to have to deal with that. We used to, my father used to go and, in ministry, going to the prison and talk, And one thing about it was, you coming into the word in prison don't mean you ain't did the things that caused you to be in prison. See, coming into the truth and being baptized in his name and be on the road to salvation. That's that, but that don't have nothing to do with what you got going on at your job and your family. All that stuff, that's still there. That's still there. So, you have to take responsibility. And again, responsibility, I know they've made men into simply what they can provide monetarily, but in all actuality, you need to support that child monetarily. You need to support them in the ways in which a parent would, because that's what you are. So, and quite frankly, for her to say that she's wrong. I'm not saying to tell you. Now, I'm not saying she's wrong for being mad at you, wrong for she not being pleased. I'm not saying that, but to tell you, you can't have nothing to do with a child, and for you to go along with it, you weak. It said let's see. So it said, at this point, I need to see my daughter and start teaching her about the truth. Let me go another place here. Because he said it in more than one occasion. This first, 2 Corinthians, real quick. Then I'm going to read something else. 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. The fact, and see, that's a problem. Man, we got a problem with manhood amongst our people. Amongst even in the truth. Because we have been operating in like females. We haven't been operating in manhood. Many of us grew up with no father. In different situations, we've been socially conditioned not to be men, especially going on today. But the Bible is not, the scriptures are not telling us. Scriptures is telling you to be a man. And part of being a man is not that you don't make a mistake. But part of being a man is to take accountability and responsibility and try to correct your errors. That's part of it. And to provide and protect, you're supposed to provide for your children. So it says, 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, verse 14, Paul said this. He said, behold, and this is something, and indirectly he's saying that pertains to the situation. He said, behold, the third time I am ready to come to you, and I will not be burdensome to you. He said, for I seek not yours, but you. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children. You're supposed to take care of your children. You say, sounds like she got a decent man and mad for having more. Well, he lied. And then you talking about decent, he ain't even take care of it. It don't seem like he's saying, basically, you went along with this for 8 years. So they both, I understand why she mad. Don't get me wrong. But it wasn't like he was operating in the correct fashion. And see, that's what I'm saying. Then we throw a misinterpretation or lack of understanding of the word into a situation. Because if you deny your child ain't taking care of your children for 8 years based on what a woman tell you, that's wrong. He should have been like, I need to take care of my responsibility. That's what he should have did. Proverbs, the 22nd chapter. Because he's starting to say that now. The child is around 8 years old. He said, now my wife now wants nothing to do with the child and says she will leave me if I deal with her. Now, let me say this. I don't know. Let me say this because I'm just going by the information I have. Maybe this is something new that she's saying. I don't know. Or maybe hold on. No, he went along with it for 8 years. My bad. Yeah. So, okay. Proverbs, the 22nd chapter and verse 6. Because now he's talking about teaching the truth. Verse 6. It say, train up 22 and 6. Proverbs 22 and 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. You got to lead your whole household like Abraham led his household. That's part of your household. That's your child. Now, let's see something else he said. Hold on. It says, I'm almost at the point to tell her to do what she has to do. Hold on. At this point, I need to see my daughter and start teaching her truth and being a father to her as I am to my other children. I'm going to read something here. Let's go to, Let's go to Judges real quick. Because you got examples of this. Judges 11 chapter and verse 1. You got examples of people who are born illegitimate. The Bible talks about it. You read about it in Deuteronomy. You read about it here. You read about it. You think about the illegitimacy of Judah with Tamar. It's some examples of that. This is Judges 11 chapter and verse 1. It said, now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor. He was the son of an harlot, and Gilead begat Jephthah. So now he had his child with a harlot. And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up. And they thrust out Jephthah and said unto him, thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman. So he would be considered like a bastard. Okay, somebody that's a mamzer, somebody that's born out of an illegitimate union. Sometimes that could be incestuous. Sometimes, well, in this case, is he dealing with a harlot, a woman that is not, his wife. Okay, and so that's why they came at him in that regard because of that. But you see, even the contention there, they had to go back and get his help later. But you see how even here you making a separation. You say my ugly kids. You see what I'm saying? Like what kind of separation that makes. Like if it was something like, and again, I'm not telling nobody to do this, but you see in back in the days, if it was like, even if they was legitimate marriages, you even see examples of contention there, but still they would have been legitimate. This is just you having a child out of the confines of marriage. And you say, let's see. I'm almost at the point to tell her to do what she has to do because I can't punish the child. I'm just afraid of what the Most High. This is the part where I get to this. Another part of this. You right not to try to punish the child. Again, the child is innocent in regard to this matter. Then it says, I'm just afraid of what the Most High will do to me if I leave or let her leave over the child who is illegitimate through fornication. Wait a minute. You listen, you need to take care. Don't put you leaving in it. If she leaves because she don't want to be with you because of what you did, that's on her. Okay? But that don't mean you don't take care of your kid. So you can't put the Most High in it. I'm causing her to leave if I take care of my kid. You see what I'm saying? Nah, that's not what's going on here. That's not what's going on here. You see cases and instances, like I said, scripturally, again, you'll see a case where they had them put away their wives and their children, or they had these foreign women, like these foreign meaning other nations of which they should have been dealing with. Because they dealing in idolatry. Okay, you saw that in the days of Ezra and Nehemiah. That's not what's going on here. So it says, I'm almost at the point to tell her to do what she has to do because I can't punish the child. I'm just afraid of what the Most High will do to me if I leave or let her leave over the child. No, you need to take care of your responsibility, and if she leaves, she leaves. But even in that, let's say she leaves and files for divorce. That's what I'm saying. People are misapplying scriptures. Their interpretation of the scriptures messed up. Because he said y'all was in the truth. Then on the other hand, you may be doing things that you have women that you see an example of a woman leaving a man. What you do not see in Torah is the right of a woman to even divorce a man. You see what I'm saying? The bill of divorcement was written by men. That's what I'm saying. So it's people are operating with a totally different paradigm, with a totally different lens, try to apply a biblical lens to Western standards and can't understand why things are confused. So you want advice? My advice is to get better understanding of what you're supposed to be doing. My advice would be to take care of your children. My advice would be seem like you stop fornicating. So again, you ain't really, you say I done been a man, but you ain't really, you lacking in this. And we can all be lacking in certain areas. So I just understand, but it's just reading this, you lacking in that. So you need to take care of if you got a kid out there, you need to take care of him or her. So it's a girl, you need to take care of her. And you can't, and if that means that your wife for the day leaves you, she leaves you. You need to take care of your children. You need to take care. That's the one thing you need to take care of your children. Yeah, you need to take care of your kids. And if she leaves, she leaves. That's a consequence of what you did. That's a consequence of the foundation of your relationship. It was, she find out you asking you, do you have a child? You like, no. And then you marry her. That's like some Fresh Prince of Bel-Air type stuff. He was faking her. I don't know if y'all remember that episode. I don't believe I'm using this reference, but he was trying to lay with this woman. She was a virgin. He wanted to lay with her, and then he faked the wedding to lay with her. He didn't do it. I'm like, man, why y'all stop lying? First of all, stop being in the street, fornicating, laying with these women. That don't lead to nothing. You lay with all these women just committing fornication. That don't lead to nothing good. You bringing some home, baby, or you bringing some home in another way. It doesn't lead to anything good. And that's another thing. You read this because brothers need to hear this kind of stuff. You got to think about what's your situation. How could you see somebody else? There's two ways to learn. You can make the mistake yourself and try to dig your way out, or you can see the mistake that somebody else has made and not make the same mistake. So take care of your children. Don't be swayed by what anybody tells you about what you're supposed to be doing as far as your responsibility. That's weakness. That's real weak. That's real weak. Extremely weak. That's your child. I keep reiterating that. That's your child. You need to take care of. I always tell a story about this one young lady. She said, Mr. Israel, my father always talking about God, but he ain't never done nothing for me. Ain't never done nothing for me. Ain't don't take care of it, nothing. But he always talking about God. How you talking about God and you ain't done nothing for your child? Don't. You need to. You got an opportunity to make that change. Make that change. And with that, brothers and sisters, trying to think, is there anything else I want to touch upon? But no, I think that's it. With that, brothers and sisters, I want to remind you that we at the Household of Faith, our services are held every Sabbath at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We live stream right here on the Israel Teach YouTube channel, as well as at www.israelteach.org. We're having Bible study every Friday night. We have it tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have it on Zoom. If you look at the description on our videos, you'll see the personal meeting ID number that you need in order to be a part of that Bible study. Okay, that's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Zoom. That's every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also, if you've been edified through the ministry and would like to leave a donation, we are thankful truly to those who have been donating to us. We truly appreciate your offerings. 100% of the proceeds go to the work of the ministry, not in our pockets. We don't get paid. So, but we are thankful for those who have been donating. We truly appreciate you. Let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, you can do that on our website. Now, also books available that I've written: Into Egypt Begin with Ships, The Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays, Hell Like War, Feet Like Burned Brass, Killing Black Innocents, For Then Shall Be Great Tribulation, and In Defense of Biblical Polygyny. All those books are available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles and other places where books are sold. Um, yeah, yeah. We got to be responsible for what we're doing as men, and we have to take the lead in our homes morally, and we have to be accountable. You know, have to make, and you got to go. You can't be afraid to go through the tough things um, that you need to go through, and try to rectify the wrongs that we've done as people, because that's everybody else can be not accountable, and that's not how we should be. We try to do what's right. You know, we are the ones that's supposed to be leading as far as morally and setting the standard on morality according to Torah. So with that, brothers and sisters, uh, it's always my prayer that you were edified.